Sizzler went bankrupt in America in 2020. In the Philippines, it is a luxury dining experience. In Japan, it is the place you take someone to impress them. This is the story of how an American budget steakhouse became a prestige brand on the other side of the world while dying at home. On a warm Sunday evening, August 3rd, 1958, Del and Helen Johnson unlocked the doors to a small storefront on Sepulveda Boulevard in Culver City, California. The sign above the window read, Sizzler Family Steakhouse. Inside, the air buzzed with the scent of sizzling sirloin and melting butter. Del, a former carpenter and World War II veteran, had built the counter himself. He stood behind it, sleeves rolled, ready to greet the first customers. Helen, his partner in life and business, arranged simple drapes and checked the menu board one last time. Their opening night menu was short: steak, fries, salad, and a thick slice of what they called garlic bread, later famous as cheese toast. The ritual began at the door. Guests stepped inside, received a numbered card, and made their way to the counter. They pointed out their steak, top sirloin for $1.19, or maybe a burger, paid cash, and watched as Del or one of the cooks slapped the meat onto the open grill. The number on the card matched the tag on the kitchen pickup shelf. When the steak was ready, a server called out the number, and the customer collected their plate. The cheese toast, golden and bubbling, was always there on the side. Helen moved through the dining room, checking in with families, making sure the napkins were folded just right. This was not fine dining. It was something new, a place where a working man could afford a steak, where families could gather without worrying about the bill. The self-service flow kept prices low and lines moving. On that first night, the Johnsons served just a handful of guests, but word spread fast. Within weeks, the little restaurant was packed with neighbors drawn by the promise of steak dinners and the novelty of picking up your own plate. The cheese toast became a quiet star, winning over kids and adults alike. The counter choreography, the cards, the sizzle, the pickup shelf set the rhythm for a new kind of American meal. That first Sizzler was more than a restaurant. It was a ritual, a modest celebration of family value and the simple pleasure of a hot meal shared at the end of the day. By the start of the 1960s, the little steakhouse in Culver City had become a neighborhood fixture. But one menu addition, introduced quietly in late 1960, would help propel Sizzler beyond its local roots. The cheese toast, thick, golden, and bubbling with Parmesan, made its first appearance as a house specialty. An early flyer from 1961 promised it was baked to a golden crisp and topped with our secret cheese blend. By 1962, it was called simply Cheese Toast and began to star in Sizzler's advertising, a side dish that soon became inseparable from the Sizzler name. As word spread about the steakhouse with the cheese toast and the self-service ritual, Sizzler's success began to attract attention well beyond Southern California. In July 1967, Del and Helen Johnson made a decision that would change the chain's destiny. Collins Foods International, a Dallas-based restaurant group with ambitions for national growth, purchased a controlling 51% stake in Sizzler for $2.4 million. The sale agreement filed with the California Secretary of State outlined a bold plan: expand Sizzler from a handful of California stores to a coast-to-coast franchise operation. Collins Foods brought more than capital. They brought a blueprint for building a national brand. Their press release in Restaurant Business magazine announced plans to open 30 new Sizzlers across the Southwest and Pacific Northwest within 3 years. The first out-of-state location opened in San Jose in 1968, followed by Sacramento in 1969. Each new restaurant echoed the original service model: order at the counter, grab your card, wait for your number, and always the cheese toast on the side. Early advertising from this era leaned into the ritual: families lining up for steak dinners, kids clutching their number cards, and the unmistakable image of cheese toast sliding from the oven. Collins Foods positioned Sizzler as a place where value and celebration lived side by side, a steakhouse for everyone, not just for special occasions. The infusion of new money and new ambition set the stage for Sizzler's explosive growth in the decades to come, as the chain left its small-town origins behind and began its journey toward becoming a national and eventually an international phenomenon. By the early 1980s, Sizzler had become a fixture in the American dining landscape. The numbers alone told the story. More than 600 restaurants stretched from the West Coast to the edge of the Mississippi, filling suburban strip malls and highway exits in nearly every state. At its height, Sizzler was one of the largest family steakhouse chains in the country, a place where a family of 5 could eat steak, shrimp, and salad without worrying about the check. Menus from this era read like a catalog of middle-class aspiration. The steak lineup was front and center: top sirloin, ribeye, chopped steak, and the ever-popular Malibu chicken, a golden fried chicken breast wrapped in ham and Swiss cheese, served with a side of creamy mustard sauce. The salad bar, once a modest row of iceberg lettuce and carrot shreds, had evolved into a full food bar by 1985. Here, customers could pile their plates with cold shrimp, pasta salad, cottage cheese, taco fixings, and even soft-serve ice cream. Some locations added soup stations, dessert bars, and a rotating selection of hot dishes, turning the food bar into an all-you-can-eat event that rivaled the main entree for attention. Sizzler's footprint was broad, but its appeal was built on small, familiar rituals. The counter-ordering system kept lines moving, while the numbered card handed out at the register became a ticket to anticipation. Families waited together, watching the grill, listening for their number to be called. When the plate arrived, cheese toast was always there, golden and crackling on the edge of the tray. For many, that first bite of cheese toast was as much a part of the experience as the steak itself. The chain's advertising leaned into this sense of abundance and celebration. Commercials from the mid-1980s showed families gathered around heaping salad plates, kids building towers of soft serve, and parents sharing a laugh over Malibu chicken. The message was clear. Sizzler was where ordinary nights turned into something a little more special, without breaking the budget. By 1987, industry reports placed Sizzler's annual system-wide sales near $800 million, a testament to its reach and popularity. The company's Pacific Southwest stronghold in California, Arizona, and Nevada remained its heartland, but Sizzler's influence stretched as far as Florida and New York. The menu kept expanding, responding to trends with seafood platters, steak and shrimp combos, and even a brief experiment with breakfast service in select locations. At its peak, Sizzler was more than a restaurant. It was a reliable answer to the question, where should we go for dinner? It was the promise of steak and cheese toast, of endless trips to the food bar, and the comfort of knowing there would be something for everyone. For a generation of American families, Sizzler was a weekly ritual, a little luxury within reach. Saturday night at Sizzler meant something different in the suburbs of the 1980s. The parking lot filled up just after 6, headlights flickering across the glass as families piled out of station wagons and minivans. Inside, the air was thick with the scent of grilled sirloin, fried Malibu chicken, and a kind of anticipation that only came from knowing everyone would find something they liked. The line at the counter snaked past the salad bar, kids craning to see the ice cream machine while parents debated steak or shrimp. Each person got a numbered card in green, red, or sometimes blue, and that card became a ticket to dinner. The counter staff called out orders over the sizzle of the grill, the clatter of plastic trays, and the low hum of conversation. There was a rhythm to the place. Order, wait, listen for your number, then pick up a plate crowned with cheese toast, the edges crisp and bubbling, the aroma unmistakable. Booths filled with families of all shapes, grandparents, teenagers, toddlers in booster seats. The food bar was a negotiation, a place where salad purists and dessert hunters crossed paths. Some loaded up on shrimp and pasta salad, others built towers of soft serve, or made careful, deliberate choices from the taco station. For parents, Sizzler was a compromise that worked. Steak for dad, salad for mom, fries and chicken for the kids, and nobody left hungry or broke. There was something democratic about it, too. It didn't matter if you came straight from soccer practice in a uniform or from church in a pressed shirt. Every table got the same cheese toast, the same chance at a second helping, the same laughter over a plate of Malibu chicken. The lighting was bright but not harsh, the decor unpretentious. You could linger over dessert or rush through a meal before a movie. No one hurried you out the door. People remember the little things, the way the cheese toast stuck to the tray, the sticky fingers from the ice cream machine, the thrill of hearing your number called. Sizzler became a backdrop for birthdays, report card celebrations, or just an ordinary Saturday made special by routine. It was a place where the week's worries faded under the glow of neon signs and the comfort of predictable, affordable abundance. For many, those nights at Sizzler weren't about the food alone. They were about the feeling of togetherness, the sense that this was a treat everyone could agree on. It was a ritual that stitched itself into memory, a promise that at least for one night, everyone could get what they wanted and nobody had to do the dishes. By the early 1990s, the glow of Sizzler's heyday had faded into a much harsher light. The landscape outside its doors had changed. Newcomers like Applebee's, Chili's, and TGY Fridays were not just growing. They were rewriting the rules of casual dining. Applebee's boasted more than 1,600 locations nationwide by 1996, fueled by double-digit sales growth and a $15 million annual marketing budget. Chili's and TGY Fridays followed close behind, each pouring money into fresh menus, lively bar scenes, and interiors that felt newer, brighter, more inviting. Sizzler, meanwhile, struggled to keep pace. Its annual capital spending per store hovered around $80,000, a far cry from the $250,000 rivals spent to remodel and refresh their dining rooms. The result was visible: worn carpet, faded booths, and salad bars that looked trapped in another decade. The numbers told their own story. From 1992 to 1995, Sizzler's same-store sales were flat or negative, stuck at zero or dipping below. Applebee's and Chili's, by comparison, posted gains of 5 to 7% year after year. Customers who once lined up for steak and cheese toast now gravitated toward the promise of something new: Tex-Mex appetizers, craft beer, and the chance to linger in a booth that did not feel like a time capsule. The menu at Sizzler barely changed. Steak, Malibu chicken, and the food bar remained, but the excitement had shifted elsewhere. Franchisees felt the pressure most acutely. Nearly 70% of Sizzler's U.S. locations were run by independent operators, many of whom grew frustrated with the corporate parent. The company's royalty structure left little room for reinvestment, and promises of marketing support or remodel funding rarely materialized. Store owners watched as their competitors rolled out new signage and TV spots, while their own locations struggled to attract families who now expected more than just value. By the time trade journals began comparing Sizzler to its upstart rivals, the cracks were impossible to ignore. Negative comps, underfunded renovations, and a widening gap between what Sizzler offered and what diners wanted set the chain on a collision course with financial reality. For many franchisees, it felt less like a restaurant war and more like slow erosion, one that would soon force the company to make hard decisions about its future. On June 2, 1996, Sizzler International filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection in the U.S. Bankruptcy Court for the Central District of California. The docket left little room for hope. $95 million in debt, creditors including Cisco and Kraft Foods, and the immediate closure of 160 U.S. restaurants. In a single legal action, more than half of Sizzler's domestic footprint vanished from the American landscape. The list of shuttered stores stretched across the country: California, Arizona, Texas, Florida. Each one a casualty of a business model that could no longer keep pace with changing tastes and rising competition. Franchisees, already frustrated by years of underinvestment and stale menus, faced the reality that their stores might not survive the summer. The court filings named John W. Ketchum as president and chief executive officer, with Robert L. Sade representing the company's legal interests and James R. Gorman appointed as chief restructuring officer. Their task was to salvage what remained of a brand that had once promised steak dinners and cheese toast for every family. The bankruptcy plan outlined a $25 million cash injection from private equity, a reduction in lease obligations, and a commitment to a $1 million advertising campaign built around a new burger menu. But for many, the damage was already done. The closures hit small towns and suburbs hardest, places where Sizzler had been woven into weekly routines and family celebrations. Employees lost jobs overnight. Longtime franchisees watched as decades of effort unraveled in a matter of weeks. The chain's sudden contraction was more than a financial event. It was a cultural fracture. The familiar green and white signs disappeared from strip malls and highway exits. The ritual of the counter, the numbered card, and the sizzle of steak on the grill faded into memory for millions of Americans. Sizzler's bankruptcy in 1996 drew a sharp line between its past and its uncertain future, shrinking its presence and leaving behind only the strongest locations. For the first time since 1958, the idea that Sizzler could be a national fixture seemed impossible. The story of a family steakhouse, once a symbol of affordable abundance, had become a cautionary tale about the risks of standing still while the world outside kept moving. In 1980, Sizzler quietly opened its first doors in Bangkok, far from the suburban sprawl and strip malls that had defined its American identity. The decision was bold: bring a self-service, value-driven steakhouse to a country where Western dining was still a novelty. The original Thai franchisees saw more than an import. They saw an opportunity to create an experience that felt both exotic and celebratory. Instead of chasing the American model of everyday affordability, the Thai operators leaned into the idea of Sizzler as a destination, a place for birthdays, graduations, and family gatherings that called for something special. In those early years, the menu echoed its California roots: steak, chicken, the famous cheese toast, and a salad bar lined with crisp greens and cold pasta. But the atmosphere felt different from the start. Diners arrived dressed for an occasion, not just a quick meal. The service, though still anchored in self-service traditions, offered a level of polish that stood out in Bangkok's restaurant scene at the time. Imported beef was a selling point, and the cheese toast, already a legend in California, became a talking point among Bangkok's growing middle class. The first location, tucked inside a bustling Bangkok shopping mall, drew steady crowds. Word spread quickly, and Sizzler's reputation grew as a place where Western food was not just accessible, but aspirational. By the late 1990s, Sizzler Thailand had expanded beyond the capital, opening new outlets in Chiang Mai, Pattaya, and Phuket. Each restaurant kept the core ritual intact: a salad bar that invited endless creativity, a main course crowned with golden cheese toast, and an atmosphere that felt just a little bit American, but unmistakably elevated for local tastes. As the Thai economy surged in the 2000s, Sizzler's footprint grew with it. The brand's local leadership, including figures like Vichai Ratanapong, invested in modern interiors, expanded the menu to include local flavors, and trained staff to deliver a level of service that blended American friendliness with Thai hospitality. The chain's growth was steady and deliberate, with new locations opening in major malls and commercial centers across the country. By 2024, Sizzler Thailand listed over 80 operating restaurants, each one busy, each one a testament to the brand's enduring appeal. Unlike the fading memories of Sizzler in the United States, the Thai version became a symbol of achievement. For many families, a meal at Sizzler marked a milestone, a reward, or a gathering worth remembering. The cheese toast remained, but here it was more than a side dish. It was a badge of arrival, a taste of something both familiar and aspirational. The numbers tell a story of sustained success: more than 80 outlets, decades of steady growth, and a place in Thai dining culture that few American brands have managed to achieve. Sizzler Thailand didn't just survive, it became a fixture, proving that the same name could mean something entirely different on the other side of the world. In Manila, a Sizzler dinner means something different than it ever did in California. Here, the sign above the door signals not a budget steakhouse, but a destination for birthdays, graduations, and anniversaries. A place where families dress up, not down, and where the meal itself is the event. The first Philippine Sizzler opened in 2002, launched by a local hospitality group determined to offer Western dining with a sense of occasion. White tablecloths, polished flatware, and a full wine list replaced the plastic trays and cafeteria lines of American memory. The menu, too, tells a new story. Imported steaks, seafood platters, and the famous cheese toast, now plated with care and served by waiters in crisp uniforms. Average check sizes run from 1,200 to 1,500 pesos, about double the cost of a typical casual meal in Manila. On any Saturday night, the dining room fills with families marking milestones. A father toasts his daughter's college acceptance. A group of co-workers splits a bottle of red wine, laughing over plates of Malibu chicken. The cheese toast arrives hot from the oven, golden and fragrant. But here it is, more than a side dish. It is a signature, a symbol, and sometimes even a gift. In 2021, Sizzler Philippines began selling cheese toast merchandise, tote bags, mugs, even plush keychains, turning a humble American side into a pop culture collectible. The merch catalog, available at the hostess stand, features cheese toast pillows and shirts printed with the phrase, "Keep calm and cheese toast on." For regulars, the Sizzler experience is a ritual with its own rules. Diners share stories of lining up for reservations weeks in advance, of saving visits for birthdays or promotions. Social media posts tag Sizzler as #goals and #treatyourself, a far cry from the everyday affordability that defined the chain's U.S. heyday. Even the cheese toast, once handed out by the basket, is now limited, one slice per diner unless you order the special cheese toast platter, a dish that has become a badge of honor among fans. Miguel Santos, the franchise chair, describes the local approach as every meal is a celebration. For many Filipino customers, Sizzler is the first taste of Western steakhouse dining, a place to step into another world for an evening. The contrast is sharp. What once felt ordinary in America now feels extraordinary in Manila. The Sizzler logo, the cheese toast, even the Malibu chicken have been recast as markers of status, comfort, and aspiration. In the Philippines, Sizzler is not a relic. It is a destination, a memory in the making, and a reminder that context changes everything, even the taste of cheese toast. Across the Pacific, Sizzler's story continued along lines that would have seemed almost unthinkable to American diners in the midst of the chain's domestic decline. In Japan, the first Sizzler opened in 2004 under the guidance of Sizzler Japan Company Limited, led by President Keiichi Tanaka. Here, the brand was introduced not as a bargain steakhouse, but as a premium family restaurant, a place where Western food carried a sense of novelty and status. Japanese menus featured familiar Sizzler signatures like steak and cheese toast, but the experience was tailored for local tastes, with smaller portions, Japanese-style sauces, and a focus on presentation. Dining rooms took on the look of upscale cafes, with polished wood, soft lighting, and attentive table service. The average meal cost hovered around 2,800 yen per person, a price point that placed Sizzler squarely in the mid-range special occasion tier. For many families, a visit to Sizzler meant a birthday dinner or a reward for a good report card, not just a quick weeknight meal. In Australia, Sizzler arrived in 1995 and quickly found its footing as a reliable family destination. Sizzler Australia Limited, managed by Emma Whitaker, kept the buffet tradition alive but made notable upgrades to meet Australian expectations. Interiors were refreshed with modern colors and more comfortable seating. Wine lists expanded and the salad bar was stocked with local produce and seafood. The chain's reputation shifted from value first to something closer to premium casual, a step above fast food, but still accessible for families. By 2022, 23 Australian Sizzler locations reported steady annual sales growth, even as the US brand faded from view. The Australian approach leaned into the ritual, buffet plates piled high, cheese toast still a staple, but wrapped in a more polished, celebratory setting. What made these transformations possible was the autonomy granted to regional franchisees. Unlike the tightly controlled American system, Sizzler's international agreements allowed operators in Japan and Australia to adapt everything from menu design to service style. In Japan, the cheese toast became a carefully plated appetizer, sometimes paired with local wines. In Australia, the food bar expanded to include prawns, roast meats, and desserts that reflected local preferences. Both countries embraced the idea of Sizzler as a place for special gatherings, not just everyday meals. The result was a pattern. Wherever Sizzler landed in the Pacific, the brand was reshaped to fit local dining norms and aspirations. Franchisees like Tanaka and Whitaker acted as cultural translators, blending the American DNA, steak, salad bar, cheese toast, with the expectations of their own markets. This flexibility proved crucial. By giving franchise partners the freedom to experiment and refine, Sizzler evolved into a premium experience abroad, even as the same name was losing ground at home. The story of Sizzler in Japan and Australia is not just about survival, it is about reinvention, about how a familiar ritual can be transformed into something new simply by crossing an ocean. August 2020 brought a crisis that felt both sudden and strangely familiar to anyone who had watched Sizzler's fortunes rise and fall over the decades. On a Monday morning, Sizzler USA Incorporated filed for Chapter 11, bankruptcy protection in the U.S. Bankruptcy Court for the Northern District of California. The official court docket, dated September 21, 2020, listed just 14 company-owned restaurants as the assets covered by the petition. More than 90 franchise locations, scattered mostly across California and a handful of western states, were excluded from the filing and allowed to keep operating. The press release, timestamped at 9:12 a.m. Pacific Time, made the company's position clear. The financial blow had come from pandemic shutdowns, with indoor dining bans and unpaid rent stacking up faster than any takeout pivot could offset. Mark J. Goldstein, Sizzler's CEO at the time, explained in a statement that the Chapter 11 process was not a liquidation, but a tool to renegotiate leases and keep the brand alive. The company cited a nearly 40% drop in reservations during the COVID-19 lockdowns and pointed directly to landlords' refusal to provide rent relief as the final straw. The legal paperwork detailed a plan to restructure debt, pause creditor payments, and emerge from bankruptcy with a smaller, more focused set of restaurants. For longtime employees and franchisees, the news landed with a sense of déjà vu. The chain had weathered bankruptcy before, but this time, the threat felt existential. The 14 company-owned stores, once the backbone of Sizzler's American operation, were now just a fraction of the brand's former reach. Many of these restaurants closed temporarily, some for good, while others waited on the outcome of lease negotiations and court hearings. But the filing also drew a bright line between the domestic and international sides of the Sizzler story. The court documents, along with every major news report, made one point unmistakable: Sizzler's overseas operations were not affected. The legal separation meant that while American diners watched their local Sizzler close its doors, families in Thailand, the Philippines, Japan, and Australia continued to fill booths, order cheese toast, and celebrate milestones. The American collapse was contained, painful, but insulated from the thriving international network that had by then become a different kind of Sizzler altogether. Sizzler's American presence now lingers in a handful of western states, its green and white sign a familiar sight in California and Utah, with a scattering in Idaho and Washington. The brand that once claimed 600 U.S. locations has contracted to about 74, most operated by franchisees with deep roots in their communities. These are often family-run places where the memory of packed Saturday nights and the aroma of cheese toast still echo, even as the crowds have thinned. The ritual remains: order at the counter, wait for your number, and settle in for steak, Malibu chicken, and the salad bar. Yet the sense of occasion has faded, replaced by a quieter loyalty among regulars who return for a taste of the past. In an effort to revive that old spark, Sizzler USA has invested in a wave of remodels over the past 2 years. Fresh paint, updated booths, and a renewed focus on the iconic cheese toast have brought new energy to select stores. The impact is measurable. Remodeled locations have seen sales increases ranging from 47% to 100% compared to their pre-remodel averages. Still, these successes are isolated, and the brand's American footprint remains concentrated. Clusters in California and Utah with little sign of a broader resurgence. The core appeal is nostalgia, not novelty. and the geography tells the story of a chain holding fast to its last strongholds. Overseas, Sizzler has taken a different path. In Thailand, more than 80 locations buzz with families celebrating milestones, the brand reimagined as a destination for special occasions. The Philippines offers full service. Sizzlers with white tablecloths and wine lists, elevating cheese toast to a symbol of status. In Japan, Sizzler signals achievement, a premium family restaurant where Western steakhouse dining is aspirational. Australia's Sizzler, though smaller, enjoys steady sales and a loyal following. International franchises have not just endured, they have flourished, adapting menus and experiences to local tastes while preserving the rituals that define the brand. The result is a brand split by geography and meaning. In the US, Sizzler is a nostalgic remnant. Abroad, it thrives as a symbol of celebration. The same name, logo, and cheese toast evoke entirely different worlds. For millions of American families, Sizzler was more than steak. It was a ritual with cheese toast, the food bar, Malibu chicken, and laughter. Today, that same name signals luxury across Asia, while at home, it is a vanished tradition. The split reminds us that what feels ordinary in one era or one country can become extraordinary elsewhere. Nostalgia travels, but meaning changes. In the end, the story of Sizzler is really a story about what we value and where we find it. Share your own Sizzler memories below.